What's up, my dude? So I got us another Reflex track review, and this one's made by the C4 detonator, so you know that shit's got to be good. But let's check it out here, man. Never rode on this track at all before. This is my first laps on it, so oh yes sir, little tight corner ski action going on. But I just love how you can put ski on literally the end of any fucking word out there. Oh my gosh. Brew ski, dude ski, jump ski, rut ski. Oh, you can just go on with it. But I started thinking about how I actually got into Reflex and how, like, my whole just getting into motocross in general all started. It's actually kind of a crazy story, and I know I've told it in a video before, but I don't think Reflex necessarily got me into motocross, but I do think that without Reflex at the very beginning, I wouldn't have gotten as deep into motocross as I did. So, like, at the very beginning, what got me into it was just some random dude talking about it in class one day in school, and I was kind of wanting to become at least somewhat decent at one thing and focus on one thing, and he just happened to talk about his brother was pretty good at riding a dirt bike, so then I found it like that. But after that, though, is when I actually found Reflex. I was like, oh, I think I was just randomly walking around in Best Buy, meanwhile going off the track here, but I think I was just kind of going around, walking around in Best Buy, looking at some of the games and stuff, and I was like 13 or 14, and I just happened to see Reflex sitting there, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm kind of into dirt bikes, so let's see. And this was when I was first getting into motocross, and I was like, okay, let's just buy this game, see what's going on with it. And then it just, like, my addictive personality that I have got brought out into motocross through Reflex, because I was able to play Reflex whenever I wanted and do it whenever I wanted. Whereas, like, real life motocross, it's a little bit more like you have to, you know, have the bike that's actually rideable. You got to have a track. You got to have a trailer. You got to have this. You got to have that. It's a lot more difficult to actually get to a track than it is to just wake up and go play Reflex. So I think Reflex, I have to give this game a lot of credit for building the passion for motocross. And I know it sounds so stupid because it's just a video game, but I took Reflex very, very seriously at one point in time. Some people will never understand how serious I took this game. The real people that would only actually understand it would be like my buddies that used to play Reflex with me back in the day, and they would just be normal old dudes playing a motocross game, and I'd be running laps around them. They'd be like, what the hell is this? And that was back when I really took, like, being good at Reflex seriously. But once you find MX Simulator, that kind of disappears a little bit. But it all started with Reflex. I mean, I have to give all the credit in the world to this game, because this is where it started for me. And I know a bunch of people have started on the earlier games, and I went back and played a lot of those other games like Untamed and Unleashed, and I played those back in the day, but that was back when I didn't even really, like, know what motocross was. I mean, I knew what a dirt bike was. It's like, yeah, go have fun on it, but I didn't know what motocross was, you know. I played all that stuff back in the day, a lot of those, you know, ATV games and stuff like that. I remember playing those way back in the day. But it just, there was nothing that ever clicked where it was like, okay, I love motocross and supercross, until I found Reflex. That's what made my addictive personality actually connect and actually intertwine with motocross and supercross. So yeah, I know this is a track review, sorry. That was just a little story I had to tell right there. It's pretty cool how it's just a video game can do so much like that. I know a lot of people say, oh, video games, you know, you need to get outside every once in a while, but video games made me get outside and actually ride a real dirt bike. It's hard to explain it, but, like, video games are a lot more important than I think a lot of people realize in a lot of different occasions. But and it's just, it's crazy the capabilities of a video game. And anybody that says anything about a video game, you better not watch a second of television, or you're a little bastard, basically. But, you know, that's the way it is. But that's kind of the stereotype. You know, people that play video games are nerds that just sit around and play video games all day and stuff. But, I mean, that's the trend, man. That's the money making. There's so much money that can be made within video games nowadays. People don't even realize. Like, there's a lot of money involved, especially with the YouTube side of video games and stuff like that. I mean, the professional gamers, I know they're very few and far between, but they make a lot of money, the top level people. But yeah, anyways, track review, sorry. It's just, I like integrating different talks within my videos instead of just being like, okay, this jump's cool, and that jump's cool, and the skybox is nice, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been there, done that, said that about everything, so it's just nice to integrate some different stuff in the track reviews, and I think it's just gives it a little more meat to it, you know? But this track, not quite as impressive as I was thinking. I mean, I'll say that. It's definitely... Whoa, Indo, bro. Not quite as, I don't know how to explain. I thought it was going to be a little bit longer, first of all. And I know it was just meant to be kind of like a hybrid track, but I thought it was going to be a little bit longer, a little bit more like actual rhythm section style, possibly. It's very, very simplistic. From what I'm seeing on quite a few of these jumps right here. I'll go ahead and restart it. But that's something I've realized. There's always something about when you make a track short, it just like, I don't know, it kills a certain level of its like longevity and fun factor. For some reason, I don't know why it does that. But if a track is not, and this track's probably just as long as most tracks out there, but the problem is... If it feels short, I think is what really comes down to it. This feels way more like almost like a, not exactly like a Loretta Lynn's, but kind of that, like, difficulty, if that makes any sense. It's almost like a Mini-O's Supercross track or something. That's kind of what it feels like. It's like very, very just simplistic, kind of short rhythms. So you're really not thinking at all on any of this stuff right here. But it's just, yeah, you've got a, woohoo, that pretty good whoop section right there, though. I mean, I'll admit that's one part of the track that really kind of makes you, like, most whoop sections in this game, you just hold down the gas. And you can lean forward, lean back, lean however you want to lean, and you're going to survive. But those right there, you actually do have to be a little bit more cautious with them. But corners are kind of cool. You just like certain, it's kind of like just a balance between motocross and supercross here. Now right there, oh god, flat landing it. I don't know if you could, I'm sure you could jump all the way over that one jump, but you might hit the little dill there. Either way, just for this little track right here, I mean, some of these sections, like right there, you do have to be a little bit more patient with your kind of leaning right there, or it'll just kick the front end right over. So, a couple places you got to think like that a little bit more. But as far as off track, yeah, standard woodland, but it all is filled in really good. C4 detonator always has a way of, whoa, that's what I'm talking about when you flip over right there. But C4 detonator always has a way of sort of being able to just, you know, just a professional level of off-track building and even on-track building. But I think he's hindered and hurt a little bit by the actual overall distance of this track, overall like length of it. Definitely hurts it, I think, but it is what it is, and I don't want it to be any different. Don't get my words twisted. Like, I love certain tracks to be shorter, certain tracks to be super long. I love every element of it, but as an overall review sense, it's not as, like, fun in a longevity sense as some other tracks would be. But pretty cool. I mean, it just has that Mini-O's vibe to it. That's the only way to explain it. It's like short supercross, but kind of motocross, easy. That's just kind of the way it is right here, man. But, yeah, so overall, let's see. This is about the only motocross parts on it right here. And it's cool to see, like, how different people sort of interpret what a hybrid is. And I'm not here to say I know what a hybrid is, because a hybrid can mean anything, any sort of track. I mean, they call the fucking Monster Energy Cup a hybrid when it's got literally one motocross section on it. Like, and it's not even really a motocross section most of the time. It's just like one or two little straightaways. For me, a true hybrid is like a perfectly combination of, I can't speak, I'm talking so slow, a perfect combination of motocross and supercross. So like, basically like where you'll have like a supercross triple, but then the landing of the supercross triple is like a motocross tabletop down a hill elevation, then you make a sharp turn, and then it's like a motocross roller section, then you hit a supercross whoop section right after that. You know, that's kind of my interpretation of like an actual hybrid, but everybody kind of does different variations to it. And even me, I mean, making a track like this right here wouldn't be that, like, out of the realm, even though this is more of like just an easy supercross track more than it is like a motocross, supercross combined, more so, if that makes any sense. I don't want people to get confused on that, but that's a huck right there to hit that all the way. God bless America. But yeah, I mean, right here you got one motocross sort of rut to the inside, and then this is kind of like a motocross tabletop, I guess, right here. But other than that, it's all like, I think the layout makes a big difference, and kind of how the corners flow and how your elevation is really depicts when you think it's actually a motocross track over just like a supercross hybrid. Kind of hard to explain all that, but either variation, what I'm trying to get at is either variation of it is cool. I like to see all different styles of a hybrid, whether it be like right down the middle motocross and supercross, or a little bit more supercross, or a little bit more motocross with a supercross layout, or like a supercross track with a motocross layout. I mean, it's endless possibilities, so it's just cool to see every bit of it. But for this little particular track right here, not the whole compound, none of that, just this one little track here, I would say, I mean, I don't know. It's so tough, because, I mean, it's built well. Nothing feels like weird. The off-track is good. And it is different. I mean, you don't see this very often, this, like, Mini-O style of a track right here. Man, I would give it a 6 overall. Don't take it the wrong way, dude. Please don't. I'm just rating this one little particular track right here as far as like longevity, fun factor, and I could never make something this good on Reflex. Don't get it twisted. I'm not even a Reflex track maker. I'm not saying I'm even the best MX Simulator maker. It's just, you know, everybody has their own styles and their own, and I get all that, and I respect all that, and don't ever take my review and rating and stuff like that the wrong way to any of you track makers out there. There's no disrespect there whatsoever. It's just and a lot of it is personal. When you do a review on something, it's just personal shit. I mean, it's like, okay, I don't really like this as much as Joe Blow over here likes that, you know. That's what it comes down to. It's so it's like, just because I say this isn't very cool, you may love this style of a track right here, and if you do, that more power to you, and I'm glad you enjoy it. Though it's like, seriously, there's no sort of like me trying to be like, oh, this track sucks and everybody else needs to think that it sucks. That's not the case at all. It's just personally not the most favorite track I've ever been on before. You know, and fun factor wise, it's not the funnest thing I've ever rode on. So and then the off track is not anything really super different. You know, if it would have been something crazy different, this had the potential to be like a 7 or an 8, or possibly if it was something crazy different. But I mean, the off-track was good. You know, if it was the standard woodland but the off-track was shit, it would have been more like a 4 or a 5 in my book. But either way, keep on making tracks, C4 detonator. Don't let my stupid ass bring you down any. But either way, yeah, difficulty, I mean, some of these little sections, you got to use your mind, but it's hard to say this is harder than easy. It's just hard to say that. Oh my God, I love English sometimes, or it's like one word can mean literally 20 different things. Ugh, who the fuck came up with that? And then there's like all these words that are not even in the dictionary. It's like, Jesus Christ. But anyways, difficulty, I mean, I don't know. You could just say I would just say this is easy right here. Other than this little like whoop roller mixture section, other than that, it's pretty simplistic, man.